What's up, guys? Before we get started, we want to let you know about our sponsor, Fresh Prince.
You guys need new uniforms for the upcoming sports season or want to have a matching shirt for the big family reunion? Maybe have a cool design that you also want on a shirt. Fresh Prince has got you covered for all your screen printing or embroidery needs.
Yeah, so go to freshprintzinc.com. That's fresh, P-R-I-N-T-Z, Inc.com, or check them out on Facebook to see what they have to offer. Again, that's Fresh Prince with a Z, Inc.com. Now, let's party.
Yo, I was in the shower. Call me back.
All right, what's up, guys? I'm Josh.
I'm Jared.
And as always, the man behind the ones and the twos, BJ.
What up, Beach?
What's up, BJ? And you can find us on social medias. We're on Facebook and Instagram under Melon Party, and those are the only two we're doing. We've also have our merch shop you can find on our Facebook page. There's a link there that's posted or pinned or whatever. You can go to that
get
and find
some stuff for your pets. We donate to the pets as well, a portion.
Yeah, we finally got us a place that we're going to start donating to. We just need to get everything set up with them for that. And, yeah, all the proceeds for the dog bowls will go to this animal shelter. Go ahead, Jared. Tell us what's the phone number and all that noise.
Well, we always got the Melon Party hotline. It's 317-520-3168, or you can email us at themelonpartypod@gmail.com. So, Josh, what are we getting into today?
We're going to do a little small town. We haven't done a small town in a while. And when we did Seymour, the first one, there was a lot of people who really liked that kind of talking about it. And then what did we do? We did
Ulitic? What?
Ulitic. Yeah, Ulitic.
We did Ulitic, yeah.
So, BJ, where are we going to travel today?
We are going to be traveling to Centralia Mine Fire, which is a coal seam fire which has been burning in a labyrinth of abandoned coal mines underneath a borough of central Pennsylvania in the United States since at least May 27th, 1962. Its original cause and start date are a matter of great debate. It is burning up to depths of 300 feet or over 8 miles, stretch of 3,700 acres. At its current rate, it will continue to burn for over 250 years.
Whoa.
Due to the fire in the 1980s, Centralia was mostly abandoned. There were 1,500 residents at the time, and when the fire is believed to have started. But as of 2017, has a population of 5. And most buildings have been demolished.
Who the hell's still living there for 50 years with a fire under your feet?
So these people, they had to go through a whole ordeal and to be able to stay there. So the government's
Why would they want to stay?
Well, the government's taken over the land now. It's a ghost town. So you got to understand, this is a mining town. So these people who are living there right now, these last 5 people, have probably been here for hundreds of years.
Generations. Those miners are
all
stubborn,
they've got.
man.
Well, and that's all they've got. And if you're living here still, you probably...
Well, they had to, give them some money to dip or whatever.
That was the thing with the town. They had arguments about it. The town, when the fire first started and there was smoke coming from the ground.
Yes! Time to go. I don't care about generations. Smoke, fire coming out of the ground.
So... The town ended up separating into 2 groups. There was one group who wanted to stay and wanted to have the fire put out, and there was another group who wanted the government to pay them to relocate.
Leave, yeah.
And so there was that big battle. So it brought the town, separated town. But another thing about this town, in 1818, they had a bad influenza outbreak that killed 10% of the population.
That was like Spanish flu or something.
Yeah, and that was 1818, so there's not a whole lot of people on the
Spanish
planet.
Flu, I think it was 19
in this country at that time.
Yeah.
So taking 10%, that's a big number.
That's a big
number. So this town's
number.
been through a lot. But like BJ said, it's estimated to burn for another 250 years.
That's a long-ass time, man. How much coal they got down there, man?
A lot.
Yeah.
A lot. It's the kind of coal that's only 2% different than diamond. So it burns real clean. So it's really important at one time. So the big debate about this town is that, so how it happened is that they had controlled trash fire. So they would take their dump and they would burn it, and then they would come and put it out.
And then
whatever.
It got down in the ground somehow.
Well, they found out there was a hole between the mine and the and the burning. So one day they had the fire department come routinely put the fire out. The next day, it's lit again. They come and put the fire out again. The next day, it lights again.
Boy,
they come
that's
and put it-
pretty deep
and
in there. They
find
got
that
some
out.
coals down in the
Yeah.
bottom. Literally coals.
Yeah,
Literally
burning.
a mine of them.
There was another story on a
they, like-
documentary that I watched. The guy who owned the gas station started to see smoke from the lot next door rising. So he started taking temperature of his gas.
saw
And every
this.
day it was raising 20 degrees hotter, his gasoline.
Yeah.
So he had to shut down, get out, empty the
Could
tanks.
you
and everything.
imagine you stick a thermometer in your gas tanks and it's like, 150 degrees? Like a gas, bro,
Yeah.
getting hot? That's
I
bad
think
news.
it's, 300 degrees, I think is what ignites it or something
Yeah,
like that.
I mean, gas fumes are flammable, man. You
Right.
get any spark near that, boy, it's going up.
And so, yeah, this is a
would be terrifying.
wild town. But yeah, they've gone through quite a
No,
bit.
Like, if you're gonna be like having a mine fire burn below your town, and you can just like any over 8 miles and 3,000 acres or whatever, like, what's gonna stop the ground from just like swallowing you up?
There's a story about that.
That's what I'm
a
saying.
young kid saw smoke coming from the ground in this field. Went to
like,
go
"Oh, what's that?
investigate
Oh,
it,
what's that, a
and the
fire?"
ground fell below him.
See?
Luckily, he grabbed onto a tree root
What?
or whatever, and they said that drop was
Stay
150
strong,
feet.
little roots.
Yeah, stay strong.
Stay strong, says the. Yeah, I would be pissing in my pants. It's
Oh,
like
man.
12-year-old kid or something in
Yeah,
a field.
young kid. I forget how old he was.
What? That's terrifying.
The town song is "We Didn't Start the Fire."
Just shut up. No, it's not. Oh, Centralia. So, okay. So, still, they had like 5 people living here in 2020. All right. So, they had to be like grandfathered in or something,
Yeah,
right?
they had a discussion with the
They
government.
probably had
decided,
some big drag out
So-
lawsuit against
Right.
the government to stay,
But-
and like they said
and-
they could stay, but like
Yep.
when you die, you're out of there. No one else new can come in.
No one else can new can come in, and your land and house cannot be handed down to.
Right,
to-
just
to-
like who was alive
Yep,
at the time.
you're done.
Damn, there's
It's
some
done. The
old, like
town's done.
5 old ass miner dudes,
Yeah.
like chill. Probably ladies. Ladies live
Well,
forever.
the people who own the town still think that there's enough coal down there to be able to get
Mine it.
Yeah, and that's why they're
Still?
waiting for everybody to die, and then they're going to
after
go
all
in
this fire,
because to put this fire out, they're going to have to destroy.
yeah,
like,
wouldn't they
thousands
have
of
to like
acres.
flood it with water? That's the only way to do it.
They'll have to
How-
open it up.
What?
They'll-
Wouldn't that
they'll
just
open it
give it,
up.
more oxygen and make it burn hotter?
But they'll be able to kill the oxygen around it if they open it up.
and like
And
collapse
they'll
it
be able to
in
put it
another
out, and then they'll be
area.
able to put concrete barricade walls and be able to control it, cut it off, stop it from moving, kind
How
of thing.
much money you think they got to dip out of there? Right?
It said, they said right now it's going to take about $2 billion to put the fire out.
It ain't no man to get some coal, the dirtiest fucking shit that
Well,
be
too,
burning. No man,
and the-
fuck that.
and
Let
the
it
thing
burn
is
for
coal
$250
prices-
and call it a day.
Coal prices are dropping.
Yeah,
you know, so like
And
it's
that's
just another
dumb.
thing.
So just put it out then. Well,
yeah,
no, you
so
don't
it'll
wanna
be it's going to be interesting to
I
see
guess you
what
don't
they
want
do.
to spend like $2 billion to put something out just to do it. Just
Just
let it
to-
burn. Fuck
yeah,
it.
I mean that's the thing is what they want
know
to
what that
do.
reminds
I
me
think
of,
what they'll
though?
probably want to do is not necessarily put it out, but try to cut it off and save what's left, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And they're gonna have to destroy that whole. They're gonna destroy hundreds
That's
of acres of land to be able to
wild,
do that.
son.
You know.
You know what that reminds me of? You ever seen the Gates of Hell in like Turkmenistan? That big open pit that's
Yeah.
on fire. It's a natural gas fire that's been burning.
It's terrifying. The pictures are
Yeah,
terrifying.
dog, like 'cause I think like a Russian oil rig was drilling and then like sparked some natural gas there, and it's like a big ass huge crater.
Yeah.
On fire like forever. It's like
cool though when
rad
you
as
see like
hell.
the drone shots and shit of it now.
Yeah, that's
and then they'll put the
cool.
filters on it, so it makes it all the flames look even more badass. But that is a wicked.
I mean,
wicked
a
thing.
place literally called the Gates of Hell. I mean, that's pretty
I
terrifying.
mean, it's a
right?
perfect name for it. You know, like you look at that and you first thing you say is like, "That's the gates of hell." Like,
Yeah. So I mean, like they probably had that big ass like cult. That reminds me like of that train derailment that just happened recently too.
yeah,
Where was that? In like Ohio, East Palestine or something?
yeah. In Ohio with all those chemicals on it.
Yeah, yeah. So I wonder, like, if there's like, I wonder if they were getting like carbon monoxide poisoning or like cancer
Yeah.
in Centralia.
So
and shit.
nobody there was a lot of illness. Nobody died directly from the fires, or
but
anything.
they got messed up.
a lot of cancer.
Yeah.
A lot of carbon monoxide
I would
poisoning.
say, dog, it's
And this
gotta
was
be
in the
just
60s.
seeping out of the ground. Yeah,
Yeah,
where
but they
there's
didn't
like
know shit.
Yeah, they don't know nothing.
I don't
They're
even
like,
think carbon monoxide.
in the 1960s, the doctors were still like, "Oh, you got ghosts in your blood. You should do cocaine about it."
get the ghosts out with the cocaine.
You
Drink
should
this
blow.
Coca-Cola.
Here, bend over. Let me blow smoke up your ass. Literally,
Yeah.
that's so dumb. That cracks me up, man. So yeah,
That's some tribal shit, though, isn't it? With the nicotine, where
I
they blow the
think.
smoke on your spine
Well,
or whatever,
I
and
mean,
it cleans
like,
out
they
your
s-
colon and shit.
yeah. Well, they say like,
Because nicotine's
remember
got some
butt
good
chugging? That
qualities.
was like a thing
Butt-
a few years ago.
Well, they're doing butt tanning now or whatever. Is that what butt chugging is? Where
no,
they
that's
show
like
the butt?
anal bleaching,
Yes,
where they
no,
bleach your butthole
no, where you
to make
s-
it look pretty. I
No,
guess.
where you show the sun your butthole.
Oh yeah, taint like
Taint-
sunning. Yeah,
Get
this fucking culture's so tripped
you
out,
some
dude.
energy. Just
Dude.
show the sun your butthole.
Dude. So, all right, yeah, we're getting a little into the butt stuff.
Yeah.
Back to Centralia and this mine fire. So, yeah, that reminded me of that East Palestine train derailment.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm wondering from that train derailment, like I remember they put up some like comically low like survivor fund for that town, like, oh, here's $5 million or something
They don't
for
give a
the
fuck.
for the 30,000 people affected. Like they were burning like that shit off, and like now there was like this whole report I was reading about it the other day about how they exploded the train cars that were on fire because they thought that they were going to explode on their own catastrophically. So they did a controlled explosion, and now after this report, they were all saying, "Oh, like you could have just put the fires out and they would have cooled down and been fine. You didn't have to burn all this shit off." And I'm wondering, like, you know, what kind of long-term effects those people are going to have from breathing all that shit in. Did you remember those photos that came out, that big-ass, like, black-ass cloud
Yeah.
of fucked
Oh
up
yeah,
chemicals
just in the sky.
air?
People just looking up at it.
That
This
is
is my
terrifying.
thing. I'm not somebody who thinks we should get away from nuclear energy. I'm not
Yeah.
somebody who thinks coal and all these things and all these things that can hurt the environment. I'm not necessarily somebody who thinks that we should not use them, but I do think if we're going to use them, we should know about them. We should
Yeah.
know how to fix bad
Right,
situations.
yeah,
It's the
have
same with our military. I don't, if I support our military and the troops, but let's have something for them when they're done. Don't just train them to be
Yeah.
the greatest killers that history's ever seen. We've never seen the killers that we have ever in history. Have something for them when they come home. Have a way to
Reintegrate them
into
society.
to move on from that and move back into a life. I know a lot of it they can't. I mean, it's not
Right.
easy mentally and things like
For
that.
most can't.
But can we have
I
some
mean,
more
yeah.
help for that? And that's
Yeah.
also with these. If we're moving chemicals on train, can we have a idea
so
of how to clean
deregulated.
shit and how to
Right.
take care of this shit?
Right.
Like, is that difficult? We're putting billions of dollars into stuff. We can't figure this shit out before. It's that whole thing. We can do all kinds of shit. We just don't ever ask, should we do this?
Yeah.
You know,
And that reminds me just of like all the big like environmental disasters of recent memory. Like you think about what like Exxon Valdez when we were little, that
Yeah.
big oil tanker spill where that
all
captain
the shit
was
we've done
wasted.
to the ocean. Yeah.
Remember what was Deepwater Horizon in the Gulf, that massive oil rig spill where they
Yeah.
were cleaning up oil balls on the beach for like a year
Yeah.
after that and shit. Like the whole Gulf was fucked.
I think
You had like you ever heard of Bhopal in India, the Bhopal disaster?
no. Was that big explosion?
It was a chemical gas release in India. It killed like varying, they say, between 1,500 and 2,500 people immediately, but gave like 500,000 people in the surrounding area long-term lasting health effects like lung cancer, brain cancer, skin cancer, emphysema,
All that good stuff.
You know, any breathing kind of issue.
Yeah, wow.
Eyes were all messed up. They were having birth defects,
Oh, yeah.
sterility, miscarriages. And I mean, you just think about all those huge ass environmental disasters and you're just like, come on, like I get that the world needs resource, but I mean, at that cost, like, come on, like, there should be some pretty stringent, safeguards and backups and, safety procedures. I'm sure
Some
there
sort of
are.
a full understanding.
But I mean, like, yeah, there needs to be some assurances that something like this isn't going to happen.
Or if it does happen, what do we do?
Yeah.
Like,
And
I mean, evacuation, like there's, and I work in construction. There's always plans.
Yeah.
We go through these plans
Sure.
on what to do on sites and stuff like that.
Which is what's got me totally messed up. OSHA, my dad did like safety stuff
Yeah.
forever or whatever, and worked for OSHA and taught like safety classes for factories and stuff. And that got me thinking as well about all these environmental disasters and how they're always related to typically like large corporations. And then you just remember hearing lately about this that door of that plane blowing off, the Alaska Airlines Boeing plane. Remember, they were like up flying and the emergency door
just flew off?
blew off.
Better
in
hold
the
on
middle
tight.
of the flight. Nobody died,
Right.
But
Hold
they had to
on.
like emergency land with this hole in their thing, and then they come to find out there were all these plugs on this door that were defective. For these Boeing planes. And remember, they had that issue with this Max jet last year that were going into uncontrolled dives out of nowhere. They had one of them crash, and they recalled all those planes. So that Boeing executive, have you heard about this?
Yeah.
That Boeing executive was given testimony, and here just recently was found dead of suicide in the middle of his testimony. Now all his family's coming out and saying, he said to us literally like 2 weeks ago, I'm not going to commit suicide.
Yeah, they got
If
to at
I
that
die,
time.
this is foul play.
Yeah.
And now, like, that's just got me all messed up. And that got me thinking about, corporations, and, vested interests. And
Yeah.
it really got my kind of mind spinning into,
The conspiracies.
yes,
Yeah.
a lot of them.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean I enjoy conspiracies. I think we're at a time though where everything's a conspiracy. And like
There's so
no
many
more
now.
coincidences. There's no more like
The internet has made it crazy.
Yeah. Conspiracy theory has almost been in our society, it's almost been taken to substitute God. Because in religion, a lot of sense,
It's the new golden calf, huh?
well,
the idolatry.
well, no, there's certain Christianity religions that don't necessarily believe in an actual being of God,
Right.
But they believe in the universe, and they believe that God is the face we give to uncertainty. And so the things we don't understand, or these coincidences and these things that go on and they happen. Oh, well, I prayed really hard for this and it happened. It must be a God. And so like God is actually this face that we
Right.
give into this thing we don't understand.
Unexplainable.
Yeah.
Right.
And so it's almost that conspiracy theory now is taking over that face of that God.
Dude.
And it's like, so something weird happens and then, that's a conspiracy. And and then there's some things that just are just made up out of the blue that are interesting that I really enjoy. For instance, the one I've been reading about lately, and it's just there's not a whole lot about it, but that Bob Ross was a serial killer,
Bob Ross was a serial killer.
and that all of his paintings were places.
This is
that
where he buried bodies.
because some of these
That's ridiculous,
there
no.
were bodies found in sceneries that were similar to like his paintings.
What? Yeah, places with trees and water. Yeah, those
Right.
exist in the world.
Exactly,
Like,
exactly.
Get the hell out of here. That's ridiculous.
But it's also, but for me, I look at that and I'm like, that would be a great like TV show or
Sure,
movie.
sure.
Like that's
Yeah,
a
like
great
some
idea.
Twin Peaks
where it's
premise
this-
of like a-
this
yeah.
great guy
Sure.
that everyone looked, but he's actually
Sure.
got these demons,
Yeah.
And I was like, and so now I'm investigating it to the point where it's like, oh, what if he did this in
Right,
the movie? Like I'm looking
yeah.
at it as like a script, not even as this like this
Right.
real
There's no
thing,
way.
But I like stuff like that.
I do. You think about when I think about conspiracy theories, the ones that really stand out to me personally are the ones that I feel like have widespread acclaim, or not necessarily acclaim, but notoriety.
Yeah.
Maybe a lot of people seriously question them, and I think the big ones are going to be what? JFK, obviously.
Yeah.
That's the one big conspiracy, like the CIA killed him, the second gunman, the bending bullet. There's a million theories. And then obviously you've got the moon landings as well. A lot of people think that was fake. Those are the two really most widespread ones of recent memory. Those are like 10 years apart too. Like the moon landing was in what? Like that was during Kennedy. That was 62.
Yeah, something like that.
1962.
I know it was before. I know that we landed on the moon before Alabama University allowed black people to come to their university and play on their football team.
Go figure.
The JFK one's always interesting. I know when you go to the
that whole big film, that Oliver Stone film about it.
I know that when you go and you used to do the museum thing, you go into the building where supposedly the shot was taken from,
but the book depository.
But
up
they
there.
won't let you go to the window.
Oh, really?
That was a Bill Hicks. Bill Hicks talked about that.
Really?
That comedian. I do believe that.
Oswald killed him? You think
No, I mean, he was killed by, if you go and look at some of the stuff JFK was talking about and things and where we're at now.
Yeah, very progressive for his time.
So you're looking at everything he wanted to not happen has happened.
Sure.
And so for it to happen, somebody probably had him taken out.
So,
the wink
there you
heard
go.
around the world. You remember the photo where he's winking and Jackie's in tears, and it's who is that?
It's Lyndon Johnson's chief of staff or whatever, winking at him as he's being sworn in. The most evil photo ever taken,
so
they said.
Evil. It's a great photo of history.
Great photo.
But it's fucking
For
creepy.
sure.
The moon landing is something I used to kind of get into. Now, though, like as I gotten older and I realized how incompetent the government actually is,
Right?
It'd be really difficult to hold that kind of secret.
Yeah.
The moon landing was, if I wasn't there in time, but I know some people listening were. If you remember, this was a race between China, Russia, and us, right? To get to the moon.
Russia and us. Yeah,
so
Russia. We were in the space race. Yeah.
And so we're in the space race. And if we didn't actually go to the moon, I think Russia would have found out and kept pressing to go to the moon, correct?
Or if Russia was right behind us too, and they knew that they couldn't get to the moon, like wouldn't they have just immediately been like, "Oh, this is complete bullshit. They didn't go to the moon. Here's why."
Yeah, you would think that would be this massive push by Russia,
For
but they
sure.
didn't, and it was never really that big of a deal. It came from America. The conspiracy came from us.
Sure.
And it's one of those things like our government. If you, this is what I want you to do, listener. I want you to go to a U.S. government web browser or like a
web page,
.gov, and just try to go through it. Try to
so
figure,
confusing.
Figure out how to
get
the
IRS
like
web
anything.
page, even like the change your address on the postmaster.
Yeah,
thing.
they can't do a web page. I can get you a web page for like $8,000, a nice one that works. You can take payments, you can do everything, and our government can't do that. But they're going to keep this kind of secret,
right?
So that's my big thing. And Neil has literally on camera assaulted people.
Yeah, Neil Armstrong. Saying that it was bullshit.
So that's
what
one,
about like
that's one I enjoy, but I'm kind of like I think we actually did go.
Another one for the government as well that is pretty prevalent that came back kind of recently too. What about Area 51?
Yeah.
Remember when all the fucking nerds from the internet went out there and were doing like Naruto runs in front of the guards and shit? That
so
shit was
good.
so hilarious.
There's like
dude.
food trucks. And shit.
Dude, they were out there just clowning with those
so
guards.
Good.
So
I'm big on this.
You like the Area 51?
Yeah,
huh?
not Area 51, the other area. So Area 51, from what we've learned of late with all the releases and stuff, Area 51 doesn't have shit.
Right. Okay. This is just like a patsy.
There's another one.
Okay.
There's another hangar.
Area 52.
I think it is. It's 52 or it's 50. It's one of those. But there's another hangar.
Same space.
Same in that massive desert in there.
New Mexico out there or whatever.
So. But this is where they actually have the ships and stuff. This is where the engineers go.
All this shit is starting to come out. You hear about these testimonies up on Congress here over the past few weeks and months about this. They just said that the government released a report here recently that just said, "Oh yeah, we investigated all that and held these meetings. We haven't found any evidence of any alien life or ships or anything by the government." Of course, they're going to say that.
Can't
trust those dudes.
There's a lot of I mean, the thing is too with UFOs. UFO is just an unidentified flying object.
Right.
So anything flying, you could say it's a
Call
UFO.
them UAPs
Yeah,
now,
and
unidentified aerial phenomena.
Right. And just because you see a ship that we don't understand doesn't mean it's aliens too. Like there's shit that other countries could have. There's things that we've probably worked on that there's technology we don't even understand that
Right.
we've had. And I think we've kind of
And
mentioned
that's
that
what
before.
everybody's saying is like
And-
they've got alien tech they're re-engineering
Right.
and giving to like Raytheon and like all
Yeah.
these, like defense contractors to
Yeah.
like make these super jets and stuff. And that's like why we're number one in the world for advanced technology
We
and,
are.
and militaries
You would
and
think
ships
it'd be like
and
China and
stuff.
stuff like that, but it's actually us. Like
Yeah.
we're ahead in technology.
Yeah.
And I mean, I believe in other species and stuff. I just think that it's impossible that there's not something
Right,
else.
the world's too
living.
big.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's
the
animal-
universe is too big.
You know, and that's what I really liked about the movie Nope. That it wasn't this.
Oh,
like,
right,
this-
yeah.
I'm a spoiler alert.
Yeah,
but,
spoiler alert, yeah.
It wasn't this intelligent being alien,
Right, it's
just wild animal
just a
from
big
another
animal.
from another
Yeah,
another
very cool.
universe. And I thought
Very
that was
cool.
a cool take too.
Yeah. I think about when I think about conspiracy theories as well, we've gone kind of through some of the bigger governmental ones. Those are very popular. Obviously, I think of some of the more recent ones. They also some involve the government, some don't. I wrote kind of a list here we can go through. The first one that I think has pretty widespread general acceptance of recent note, Jeffrey Epstein. Did he kill himself?
I mean, no.
Of
right?
course not. No. BJ, did Jeffrey Epstein kill himself?
I don't know if I'm allowed to say on the podcast. No, he did not kill himself.
I don't know. Of course not.
It was just it was so lazy the way that
That's
It
right.
was lazy, right?
He's in a prison. The guards take a break. The cameras turn off. The video is gone. Like, I mean, get the hell out of here. And it's like the most like obscenely like dumb noose.
Yep.
Like
Yeah.
And nothing's come about. There's no revelations.
Nothing. Completely
Giselle.
swept aside.
Yeah.
Nothing. And then they took that one, his like right hand man, his right hand woman, Ghislaine Maxwell or whatever, like sent her to prison.
Yeah, got her. Didn't kill her.
You know, but still nothing came out from her. Like, wouldn't she have had all the fucking skeletons too?
Here's where the issue is: conspiracy
She would know some.
theories are great, right?
Right.
And they do lead to things and things like
Sure,
that.
question everything.
But
X-Files
this is
style.
where conspiracy theories kills a lot of stuff.
Right.
Like with the Epstein stuff, it's just like, is the list online real?
Right,
Or is
no.
a social media person posting this list just to get followers and likes?
It's
and,
all
Right.
agenda.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, because with it's not like journalism where, yes, you wanted to sell papers, but you also wanted to be, I broke this story.
right.
But now it's like monetary, are people going to
Yes.
be going to my channels?
Yes.
Yeah, and the reason for that, we'll go to one of my favorites, and this was actually done to prove a point. Birds aren't real.
Yeah, I love birds aren't
The
real.
birds aren't real guys did this whole, and they went hard with it.
I love it.
All to come out to, I think it was like a year or two later, they came out and was like, this was just to show how
Show.
quickly poor and bad and wrong
Yeah.
information can be spread.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
They'd walk around with a van painted white with big stenciled
Yeah.
black. Birds aren't real.
said,
They
have
would
you ever
say-
seen a baby bird? A baby
Yeah, you ever seen a
pigeon?
baby pigeon? And like your power lines are charging stations
Yeah.
for robot birds.
It was so good. And
It
people
was,
fell
and people
for it.
bought it. They were in it, man. They
and-
thought birds were not real.
So this is the thing with conspiracy too. You should question everything, but you also should questions your questions.
Yeah.
And so a lot of times with conspiracy theories, the first thing you should ask is why.
yeah.
Is why. Why would this
Who's
be done?
served by this?
Yeah,
you
like
know?
why would
Like,
somebody do
right.
this? There was that thing. I'm gonna
Which
be.
is exactly the next one I had on my list.
I'm
What
gonna
I
be,
always say.
I'm going to be
why.
way wrong on a lot of this information. I just remember this was in action. There's a country, maybe it was Yemen, when the president supposedly was like mustard gassing and killing his people, and it was and then I think they said that no, it's this other country that bombed. They're like, no, it was and it's kind of like, why would a leader's so to be a leader, what do you need?
power,
You need followers.
followers.
There is no leader without a follower.
Yeah.
So why would you get rid of your followers?
Right. Well, fear is a very strong tactic, you know.
Right,
So
but when you're-
that's a very popular conspiracy, false flag terrorism, where
Right.
you know, like 9/11, it was an inside job. You know,
Yeah.
again, another conspiracy theory. Like, why? Why would the government, you know, fly planes into the Twin Towers?
Right.
You know, why would the government want to facilitate that? Oh, well, so they can invade Iraq to get cheap oil. You know, like that's the most popular theory.
Which, I mean, we kind of seen that with our government with Pearl Harbor. In a sense, it came out and was like, hey, they had insight that this was going to happen. They were
Right,
told these
right,
things were going to happen. They
right.
ignored it.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like this, well, maybe it's this idea that where we let this happen. Now we
So
get
we
everyone
can get
behind
into the
us,
war,
and we can get into
galvanized.
the war. It's gaslighting.
Sure.
It's like, let's
Exactly.
cut their gas off and they're going to come back with something. And then we can be like, look at these bullies. We're going to go attack them.
Right.
So it could be that sense in a 9/11 kind of situation.
War is
But-
big business.
Yeah,
Big business.
But let's be
Especially
honest.
in this country, the biggest business.
Let's be honest. Government, stop killing us to get into it. We'll let you go to war. I mean, we let you. We let you have a multi-trillion-dollar war budget. We don't complain about that, do we? No, we complain about helping a homeless person, but we'll let you have trillions of dollars for war. So just go to war. Quit killing us. Quit letting stuff happen to our own people and our own social gatherings and things like that. Just go to war. That's what you want to do. Just do it.
We'll let you go to war if you set term limits in the Senate.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no doubt.
I mean,
Trade
but-
off.
But
Just-
we've already
fair
showed
enough.
you that we're for it. We let it happen.
We'll
We
let
don't
you have
get mad.
Halliburton. That's fine.
Yeah.
You know, we'll let you charge $9,600 for Tylenol to the government and be okay with that.
Yeah.
Right? That's fine. Just leave us alone.
Yeah,
But
just
war is
stop
big.
hurting people.
We've never not been in a conflict since creation, right? That's
Yeah.
what we do.
Yeah, well, we're best at that. I
Yeah,
mean,
I mean, it keeps things interesting, keeps us feeling important and powerful.
well, it's just too many vested interests, you know.
Yeah,
Capitalism run rampant, you know. It's gone into overdrive, and with the sucking at the government teeth, get $800 billion defense budget every single year, you know. So I mean,
but then a lot of that money goes back to the president that they're backing too.
well, sure, yeah. I mean,
Both
it's
sides.
all. I mean, it's all just a big circle jerk of money, but. The one of the more popular recent conspiracy theories that got a little play here recently, because like what Aaron Rodgers got floated as a VP candidate for RFK Jr. saying, and then somebody put out a leak saying Rodgers doesn't believe in Sandy Hook, and he had to release a statement on Twitter saying like, oh, I believe Sandy Hook is a tragedy, and I believe the families, blah 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 blah. But that fucking idiot Alex Jones got taken for all his loot for saying some bullshit about Sandy Hook, dog. Took all his money. Take it all, people. Give it all them families.
Problem with Alex Jones is he was correct on like Epstein. Like a
Yeah.
little bit.
Well, that's the thing is
He
that
got 1 out of 1,000
a
right.
million.
Well, that's
right,
the thing
yeah.
with like with QAnon and stuff like that.
Yeah,
they
QAnon
say
too.
so much.
I know, they're gonna
and
be right
every day
eventually,
There's
yeah.
going to be something. I can do
Right.
that.
Yeah.
I can say it's going to
QAnon
rain
makes
every day.
no
Sooner or later it's going to
fucking
rain.
sense, dude, to me.
You know?
Those
They've
QAnon
died.
dudes.
They've died down a lot.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, their freaking God King isn't in office anymore, and they're weirdo. Like,
Well, and two, like the
Emperor.
main guy
dude got
did-
busted.
Yeah, he kind of
got busted. Kind of outed himself
And I
on
think
accident.
finally, after like 50 things in a row not being true, some people are like, "All right,
Yeah,
this might just
finally.
be."
Oh,
and that's the thing.
After I've lost all my family and like my job and friends, and no one will talk to me anymore.
But that's the thing is like that's what sucks is that because if you go on and read a lot of the QAnon stuff, it's fun as fuck. It's fun.
Oh, yeah, it makes no
It makes no sense.
dude.
It's fun as
so
hell.
dumb. It's
When
like
I
a
go and I would
fantasy.
read the shit, I just feel like I'm reading like a script.
Right, like
Someone's,
a-
someone's
was it Jack
given me-
Ryan book or
Yeah.
something?
Yeah.
something
Or like
crazy.
somebody
Jack
sitting there-
24 episode or something.
I feel like this massive like producer, and there's people just
Yeah.
bringing me these script ideas.
Yeah, you're like, oh,
and
this
I'm
is
like,
good
this is
stuff.
this is
This is
interesting.
good
This
stuff,
is fun. We
you
could get
know?
Nicolas Cage to
Yeah.
star in this. You know, like I
I'm
read
a cat.
it, and
I'm
that-
a sexy cat.
and that's the thing is people have to realize
Like
it's
that
it's
pizza
okay
gate,
to
that
read
comic
it.
pizza
Yeah.
shit. Like they had like this
It's
sex
just-
pedophile dungeon in the basement
Yeah.
of a arcade
mushrooms
pizzeria.
equaled Asian, and
Yeah.
double anchovies equal this.
Thin line between entertainment and war, man.
Adrenochrome, like they're saying, like the elites in Washington
Yeah.
D.C. are like sucking like babies and drinking their adrenochrome or
Yeah.
whatever to keep themselves young and healthy and beautiful.
But the biggest conspiracy theories, like
Alligator
It's not.
people.
It's
Yeah.
not. It's not having money helps you become better looking.
Yeah.
You know, we've seen a lot of people that
Gotta
weren't
drink
great
baby juice.
and get a lot of money, and their appearance changed a little bit. It's because you can pay for doctors.
I love baby
you can
juice.
pay to have health, have nutritionists make out your meals every day.
Yeah,
you can
have a
pay
personal
to have
chef and
you don't have
don't
a
have
9
to
to
work
5
at,
stress.
yeah, don't have a 9 to 5. You
So-
have to work so you can get your ass in the gym and
when
keep
you take
fit.
all those things in your life, yeah, you tend to look a little better,
yeah, but like
even if you looked bad at one point.
Bill Clinton and Nancy Pelosi were definitely not drinking adrenochrome.
No.
And they were the ones that were talking about it.
Yeah.
But one of the biggest conspiracy theories to tie into what you're saying about the elite is the bigger ones that we like but we don't like is like the ones like Sean Combs, Puff Daddy.
Oh,
Yeah.
right.
You know, like
yeah.
like what are they doing to get into industry and stuff like
Yeah.
that? Even those and then those will lose traction, but
Yeah.
like that's more. I think that's the biggest widespread ring. And then, but we're like, oh no, that doesn't involve like a pizza and ordering kids, so it's not
Right.
intriguing.
Yeah.
Even though this guy,
Because you just heard about Vince McMahon and all his sexual deviancy shit going on too. He is like trafficking that woman with around the WWE, and like every time and like Robert Kraft getting jerked off at the Asian parlor or whatever.
It was
Every time
consensual.
a billionaire gets busted, it's always for something totally deviant, like sex wise.
Yep.
And I've had some conversations with Rowett and some other buddies about this, and it's just like once you get that rich, like
You're bored.
you're bored.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
talked
you're
about
just
it.
looking for that rush or whatever. I
Something
guess.
different, something new. And a lot of times the guys are probably like for you and I, if we would have been multi-millionaires at 25, we would have done some terrible stuff that we
Terrible.
would have just been betting each other, be like, I dare you to
Terrible.
do this,
No doubt.
I dare you to do, you know, and
No
it's,
real
it's all for
consequences.
no, and it's all for
when
laughs.
You're that rich.
And
yeah.
then you
Josh,
look-
you've been pissing on people.
Yeah,
Let's just go ahead and say
worse
it.
be like,
than
I would,
that.
I mean, because because at
way
20,
worse than that.
yeah,
dude.
like it was just like I think about that, and that's why a lot of times
I was a terrible
when I
person.
immediately hear like this person was with the underage, I try to stay quiet about it, no judgment. I don't read anymore and let it kind of work its way out
Yeah.
because there's so much shit to where like things can be taken out of content or out of context, and then some things that just aren't true. You know, and some things are
Right.
true.
Some aren't,
and you
some aren't.
and
You
that's
gotta
the thing.
wait. Yeah,
and
you gotta
have to
kinda
because
wait.
if we
You
just
don't wanna
attack,
jump the gun.
Well, and the
Yeah.
thing is, if we attack every single claim, we're taking away the reality of the real claims,
Mm-hmm.
and we're killing the reality of the actual issue. That this
Right.
is an issue. We have
Yeah.
this issue in our society. There's
Right.
no denying this kind of issue. But if we just attack every single and back every single claim
Right.
without any sort of facts or hearing everything out,
Mm.
then we're taking away. And that's again, we continue to. It's this illusion. We're like, look, we're backing women when they say they've been raped. In reality, we're not helping at all, because we're just taking every claim, and then the ones who are true victims are still scared to come
Right.
out and say stuff.
Right. Yeah.
You
It's
know?
still very murky
It's
out
still
though.
we still haven't fixed that, and I don't think that every single claim needs to be thrown in the news immediately. I don't think
Right.
it needs to be weighed out and figured
Yeah,
out.
well, I mean, the media has a hand in that. They're looking for clicks, and they love
Yeah.
sensational and sex.
well, we
and,
love the
violence.
failures of other people
For
too.
sig Yeah, we love to point and say, "Oh, look at the big
makes us
fuck
feel
up."
better.
Yeah,
I mean, I
absolutely.
do that a
Yeah,
lot.
casting stones. For
I watch
sure.
people get hurt on videos all the time just to
Sure.
make myself
Yeah,
feel
I
better.
love
you
that.
know?
I love
get
that,
it.
you know.
But we got there's some things that it's just it's a thin line between entertainment and war.
For sure.
And-
I was thinking about some of the sports-related conspiracy theories.
Okay.
How about the one that I believe absolutely is that the NBA draft lottery has been rigged multiple times. Patrick Ewing to New York, Derrick Rose to Chicago,
I think so.
LeBron James to Cleveland. Absolutely.
It helps the product. I mean, it does.
100%
And
the
thing
draft
too-
lottery's been rigged.
And the thing too is that it also helps take because you talked about D Rose and you talked about LeBron, both of them. D Rose was 19. LeBron was
18.
just turning 18.
Yeah.
So you're taking young kids, and instead of throwing them away from home, you're keeping them close to home
in their hometown,
and you're
hometown
giving them
kids.
a better chance to succeed and take on this stress because they're hyped. They got to come in and they
Huge
got
hype
a
trains.
lot of things on their shoulders, and they've got to try to not get there immediately, but they got to be making their way to this weight that they've been given to carry. And a better way to help with that is put them in their home,
For sure.
put them somewhere where they're comfortable.
Yeah.
And I believe a lot of times
Definitely
they
the
do
draft
that more.
lottery has been rigged, for
I think
sure.
I think there's been a few extra balls dropped in there that we're supposed to be.
Yeah. We talked earlier this year, I know a little bit in private, you and me, about since with the proliferation of sports betting, I feel like the NBA regular season games have been very rigged this year in a lot of instances. There's been some serious discrepancies. It's
I've
getting
lost some money.
bad.
Yeah, I've lost some money on some.
It's
on
getting
some questionable
bad,
shit.
man. There is some serious problems in the NBA specifically.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, there's always been terrible college basketball refereeing. NFL refereeing has been fairly consistent other than that strike year where it was a shit show, obviously. And that's why they've had their guys on lock. But I think the NBA has a very, very big problem. Obviously, since Tim Donaghy got busted for the sports betting.
Yeah. It's the easiest sport to control.
It is.
Because
It
it's so
is.
fast paced.
It
There's so
is.
much possession change.
It is.
The athletes themselves are so talented. It's much easier to control that than say controlling the NFL where you have to throw a ball and do all these different
Well, that's
things.
another sports one as well. Deflategate.
Yeah.
With Tom Brady deflated balls and what they said that what they were didn't they say was it the Colts or the Patriots that got busted pumping in music into the stadium?
The Colts were
Pumping
claimed.
in-
Yeah, the Colts were claimed to.
Pump
I've been
music
doing
through the
that.
speakers like
Yeah.
to make the crowd louder.
Yeah.
Yeah, the conspiracy theories on the sporting is going to continue to grow now that online betting
it's
is
crazy.
being more and more legalized.
It's crazy. Yeah. I mean, that's what we were just saying. In the NBA, it's so bad. It's so bad in the NBA. And I bet with the NIL now, I wonder if there's any of these just like bookies posing as boosters going to these kids on NIL being like, hey, like shave a few points in this game against State
that's not
next
new.
week and catch you a 50G bonus here at the end of the season.
I mean, that is
son.
nothing new, though. That's been going on forever. That's mob shit.
Right. I mean, there have been
That's- the
instances
bookies
of
have been
point
doing
shaving
shit like
forever. Highest level.
All we're doing is the same with like, years ago we took organized crime and we threw all of them in prison, and then the politicians took over the ideas and they moved it into government.
Yeah.
And it's the same now. Is that these used to be illegal bookies that were taking running numbers and
Right.
stuff in the back of a bar, and now what they do is they just open an office and
Yeah.
now they're
A sports book.
Now they're agents.
Yeah.
Or a or a sports book or an agent, and so it's just all these things that just become legal. So what we need to do is we need to admit that sports is just entertainment. The athletes in the NBA now aren't there to compete. How many actual competitors are there on a nightly basis? Jimmy Butler, Anthony Edwards. Those two are the only ones I can think of that go out and want to hurt people's feelings.
Right,
There's
yeah,
no
or just,
friends
like,
on the court.
dead.
and
Yeah,
they
they're just, like,
want
killers.
to destroy you and make you
Yeah,
look.
yeah.
The rest of them are just there for friends.
They're
They all want to get
friends.
each other
They're
paid. They don't
yeah.
want to hurt each other, and
They're
they
all
got
buddies.
families to take care of.
They all go to vacations
They've only got
together.
63 games they got to play this year, so let's stay and do it healthy. It's an entertainment now.
Yeah.
These guys
Yeah.
are more talented. They have more.
Well, they have so much more to
science,
lose. I mean, they're $300 million contracts for these dudes now, man.
but they've already made 40 million. So what do you mean to lose?
Yeah.
They're not necessarily losing anything. There's just a lot that they could get that they could not
Well, that's
get. It's not
it. I mean,
losing. It's like you're
they've
still
they've
making
hit that next
money.
tier of money, though.
Yeah.
Like there are millionaires. I mean, there's a ton of farmer millionaires in Seymour who own 2,000 acres and have $10 million in equipment to their name. Like a guy like small business owners. I mean, there's tons of millionaires in Seymour, but I mean, once you hit like $200 million, you're on a different level of wealth. I mean, $10 million is generational wealth. Your family's for 10 generations is probably never going to have to work again. But $200 million, that's owning a sports team. You know what I mean?
But the thing is, a lot of these
crazy.
athletes, though, they're making enough money to where they invest in other things,
Right.
and they're able to
Well,
do
they become
more than what
moguls,
everybody
yeah.
else can do. So
Yeah.
to say that they have so much more to, the guys in the 80s and 90s had more to lose. Because one injury, they're done with basketball, and they
'Cause
only
had
made
another
$200
plumber
grand
behind them anyway who could come in and play.
and they only made $250 grand.
I guess maybe that's
true.
true.
And now they've got to go find a 9 to 5, and
just-
can
yeah,
they?
these
Because now they
sports
have this
salaries
terrible
blow my
knee
mind,
injury.
though.
So today's sports, we have science is much better.
Yeah, the
the
nutrition,
data,
the travel,
it's
so much
all
easier.
Yeah, it's everything's more efficient.
You're right.
And the guys are just getting. But it's kind of a look at our society. Things in our society have gotten easier. We've gotten softer because of it. And it's the same. We're seeing that in sports. I'm not taking anything away. These guys today are way more talented than they were back in the day.
Yeah, they deserve
But
to be
they're-
paid more, but these salaries
but they're not.
are crazy.
They're
crazy.
it's not. I
It makes me think there's just so much more money vested in the pro sports now that makes me think that the conspiracies are more apt to rig. I mean, there was like a conspiracy about the Super Bowl logo as well for a long time, saying like the two colors in the logo are going to predict the teams that are going to play in it or whatever.
Let's remind everybody they've put the script out 4 straight years and it's not been right yet.
Right,
So
yeah.
let's stop with.
Well,
with-
everybody went crazy this year because of Taylor Swift.
yeah.
Yes.
They were going to rig it for Taylor Swift, so she was going to announce during the Super Bowl win to have everybody vote for Joe Biden.
Well, I'll tell you why.
These
this is-
right wingers are fucking nuts on their conspiracies.
I'll tell you why they're
it.
doing it. It's because the game of football is boring as fuck now.
Yeah.
So they have to add something
Sure,
more
they
to
wanted
it
to bring
make
more
it
chicks in it.
interesting.
They wanted to bring chicks in. That's why they brought
It's-
Taylor Swift on board. I'm sure.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
Don't make the game better. Just do some other
One of my favorite conspiracy theories that is close to my heart that I remember just vaguely. I was pretty young when this happened. Was the D&D satanic panic of the
man.
80s, son? You remember all the fucking D&D Satan worship shit
yeah.
that was going on when we were real little?
Remember how many?
Because Tyler played D&D when he was younger, when I was real little, because he's like almost 7 years older than me. So I remember in the 80s, like all there was all kinds of Satan worship shit going on in the 80s.
yeah.
It was D&D, it was Ozzy Osbourne, the records.
We're not gonna take it.
Yeah,
that
the
band.
D.
Twisted
Snyder,
Sisters.
D. Snyder, yeah.
And then you see D. Snyder in front of Congress, one of the most well-spoken
It
person.
was great.
Fucking George Carlin.
Yeah.
There was a panic on him.
Yeah, you play it backwards. It was
The satanic panic of the 80s was great.
what was
What's-
it? Do
what's-
it. The defense or the prosecutor, I think, was like, if you play it backwards, it says, "Do it." Do
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
Do what?
yeah.
Do what?
Yeah.
Like so dumb. I love the satanic panic
And if you
stuff.
look back now, you can go and find and see how many of the people like Maury and all these people had on that were
Right.
Satanists, quote
Yeah.
unquote, that came out and said, "No, I was paid to
Yeah,
just,
they were
like, say
just
this stuff."
for sure.
Because if you
for
look
sure.
into Satanism now, there is nothing like that.
I follow the Church of Satan on Twitter. They're
like,
hilarious.
They basically
they bring
equal. They just try to make it try to point out the bias and the
hypocrisies
hypocrisy
of religion.
But most of the time,
Yeah.
they're holding like baby showers for their members.
Sure.
and like
they're
or they'll
super
go out and-
altruistic and progressive.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they do a lot of like
There's
charity
a,
work.
There's an arm of the Church of Satan that just does filings of court cases against abortion restrictions and things like that,
So,
just to kind of balance the scales.
I used to be so scared of like this, satanic things.
yeah,
too, man.
And then all of a
you
sudden,
guys
Southern
were
Baptist.
churched up when you guys were young, so
and then all of a sudden, I
that
grew.
shit killed me. I always thought it was hilarious.
Well,
Scared me.
yeah, I was talking about rituals, being kidnapped, whatever. Blah, blah,
Right.
Blah, blah. Then I learned more about the church. Then I learned about our government, like the satanic people.
yeah,
They seem like really good people compared to our
fine,
government.
no doubt.
Like they're
right?
they're out
Pretty
there saying what they
stand-up.
believe in. And the government's
Yeah.
like, no, do not look behind here.
The satanic panic.
Everything is
killed me,
fine.
dude. I always thought that shit was
Well,
so
the
funny.
thing is that satanic panic got a lot of people killed.
It did,
And there
They
was that
accused-
thing
it was
about
like witch trials shit.
yeah,
dog.
they accused child care services of sacrificing their kids and shit, and like when there was nothing
remember
ever
that.
found
Yeah,
about
yeah,
it,
yeah.
no abuse or nothing
Yeah.
was ever found or recorded. So that kind of stuff is just
Because
it's
it
just
went to
fucking
selling
wild.
papers, it went to ratings.
Yeah.
We lost
It's
a
entertainment.
We lost journalists I think in late 80s and 90s, right? Once cable TV came on.
Well,
we lost
Reagan revoked the fairness doctrine in his second term, which
who was it? Richard Ramirez?
The
the
serial killer?
He was a serial killer,
Yeah.
but they tried to blame it on music.
Yeah.
Oh, right,
yeah.
And then you had all the Tipper Gore congressional hearings, and that's when they had to put the parental advisory stuff
man,
on
that's-
all of the. That's when Dee Snider testified.
That's what
Frank
I mean,
Zappa testified as well. He
so
was super good.
Weird, just like living that moment. That's something that we lived
know,
through.
dude.
You used to be able to go to Karma and buy whatever you want, and then all of a
Whatever
sudden-
you want.
and they still,
They still would in
Like they-
Seymour,
they
but
did-
probably not other places.
Besides Josh over there, there is a CD, Body Count.
Oh yeah, with the cop killer on it. Yeah, and I remember
shout
when
out to
they,
Alicia, she got it for me. It's the original
Oh,
with the
nice.
cop killer on it because we knew that they had to take that down.
they took it back. Yeah, they recalled all that, and then they put one out without it. Yeah, I remember that.
and then everybody was going after Tipper Gore in the songs.
Yeah, that was a trip. I remember that too, because that was right when MTV was at its apex. It had just started, and it was super prevalent. You know, everybody watched MTV. Our
I
age.
watched it all the time.
Every
Loved it.
day.
My mom would always say, like,
Turn it off.
She knew, like, as soon as Thriller would come on, man.
Oh, yeah,
she
dude.
said I would run to the TV,
Love that, dude.
drop down,
Mini
and
movie.
sit there and 2 or 3 feet from
Yeah,
the TV,
dog.
and just
it's like
my
a
mom,
9-minute little
yeah,
mini movie.
and she would be
dude.
like, "Hey,
So
Josh,"
dope.
she would try to get my attention, and I was
Loved
locked
the
in
Thriller,
because
dude.
of the paint
Loved
or the makeup and
The
like, it
makeup
was
and the
fucking
dancing
great,
and everything, man. It's
But
great
MTV,
production.
I mean, I still remember all the little lingos. I remember the cut scenes between songs with the rockets coming out of the earth. Yeah.
A lot of
Like a little
claymation, a lot of
spaceman.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
it was something we've never seen before. It
was
took off
great.
like a fucking
It was
rocket,
great.
and it deserved it because it was
Ricky Rattman.
awesome.
It was old MTV
awesome.
was the best. Dude.
It was awesome.
Like 20 hours
Yo,
of
MTV
videos
Raps.
a
I
day.
recorded it.
Yeah, dude. Hairbangers Ball. I
Yeah,
love
Ricky Rattman. Yeah.
And then what
what?
was the news guy who always
Kurt
I remember-
Loder.
Kurt Loder.
I remember him breaking the news on Jerry Garcia dying,
Kurt Cobain
dying,
dying.
Tupac being shot.
Yeah.
That's a great
I remember
conspiracy
all of that.
theory right there. Kurt
I was gonna
Cobain.
say, yeah. Well, Tupac and Elvis, those are a couple. Are they still alive? Is
So-
Kurt Cobain still alive?
But the Puffy
You know?
thing
Kurt's
makes a
dead.
little bit sense. But even Biggie's being a conspiracy now. We were talking about it.
Yeah.
Because he knew what Puffy was doing on the backside
Right.
of that. And Tupac knew that he wanted to leave Death Row. And that's a cash cow. Think about it. All right, I've always said this, right? Everybody's like Biggie and Tupac, two of the best to ever do it. Now, so let me finish. Like Jay-Z, they said is one of the best that's ever done it. He's still alive, but we don't talk about Jay-Z the way we talk about those two because we know death culture will shoot people up to a higher
Right.
level.
Yeah.
Like Jim
Yes.
Morrison.
Yeah,
right?
Elvis,
27
yeah.
Club.
the
Yep.
27 Janis
So if
Joplin,
you, Jimmy, so if you go through and kill Tupac and you have unreleased music,
right.
instead of letting him leave and go to another record company, and
you
then
kill him and then just
because he was trying to pump out his 5 albums, he owed him
right.
5
He owed him
albums.
5, so he was stacking up songs.
So that's a cash cow. And you
Yeah.
go through, look at Biggie. If Biggie's going to leave, he's upset about
Same
the owning his
thing.
masterings.
Yeah,
I mean, and you go through, look at that one. So the music industry has a lot of
Right.
conspiracy theories with
Right.
it. There's the Paul McCartney conspiracy theory.
Oh, right,
I hate
yeah.
that one, by the way. That's just dumb.
Yeah.
yeah.
I think
that one is
it's yeah.
dumb, too.
I think it's
What other? And then but the Kurt Cobain, the way his shotgun was laid and everything like
Right,
that.
Yeah,
But I don't know who would really want to kill Kurt Cobain now.
Well, and this is the thing with the Kurt Cobain.
see.
He was
if you,
on
if
top of the world.
there's a lot of great books written by people who knew him and like were like
He's
in
always
his
super
circle.
tortured.
That guy killed himself.
Yeah, he was a tortured soul. For
Now,
sure.
did his body stay where he was at for a little bit longer when people actually knew that he was dead? And maybe,
yeah, there may have been some shenanigans
There might have
going
been
on
some
after
shit
the
going on
fact.
after he did it, but
Yeah.
a lot of them knew that he was gonna do it sooner or later.
he was a tortured soul.
He was done.
Who is it? Chester.
Yeah.
Bennington from Lincoln
And then
Park.
there's also Chris Cornell.
Yeah,
Chris Corden. Did he kill himself?
yeah,
Yeah, they said because this is where conspiracy theories are good and bad. They said they killed himself because they were going to expose the pedophile ring in the music industry or
yeah.
whatever.
Like, that's crazy.
That's
bro.
I get it.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is though is like if one of my family members committed suicide or whatever, like even Anthony Bourdain's another conspiracy. Like
Right.
we
Yeah.
don't know why people kill themselves.
Right.
This is the thing we do know when it comes to suicide, though, it's all decided in a second.
Yeah.
And we've learned that from people who had survived it.
Right.
And so that's another thing we have to understand when it comes to suicide. Most suicides aren't something that's thought out. Most
Yeah, it's
suicides
a
aren't
emotional
these
response.
are people that are depressed, and they're depressed for most of their lives,
Right.
and they never really think about the suicide. And then it gets to where that weight. And if you've ever had that kind of weight, to where it's just, if you don't understand it, you've never felt dread, and you've never felt doom. And there's these feelings to where like it's. I've had it to where I start to sweat. I get these cold sweats. I can hardly breathe. And it's to this point where it's like, this is it. Like the only way out is this way. And a lot of these suicides where people are like, well, he was just fine. Yeah, but he was fine yesterday, maybe, and so things like this happen in just a second, in just an instant.
But a lot of the people that commit, not a lot of people, but my theory is that a lot of people that are unhappy, you can't tell,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, yeah, they're the best at hiding it, usually the most sad people.
Yeah, and then I've been on my other podcast, been pretty open about my issues with it.
Sure.
Like no one can tell.
Yeah.
Like I'm the best. Like, oh, dude, this guy, he's always whatever. But yeah,
I'm the same way. A lot
Well,
of people tell me, they're like, oh, you seem so, like, happy and
because we
good."
deal with everything with comedy.
Yeah.
Our only thing is like we'll even make like, oh yeah, I got a heart condition. It's like shocker by that. Whatever. We'll make a joke
Yeah.
out of
Yeah.
like
Yes.
instead of being
have
like
to keep
instead of
yourself
being
sane
Eeyore.
about it.
Yeah, we're not Eeyore. Things are bad.
Yeah.
No, you just don't
right.
want to. You don't want to take everything so seriously, and you understand sometimes the universe plays jokes on you, and sometimes they win. You laugh it off, and you just keep moving forward and deal with what you.
But
gotta
check
deal
on
with.
your people. Tell them you
Yeah.
love them. Call
Yeah.
them. Check
Yeah.
on your people.
Another one of
But
my favorite suicide conspiracies that you guys probably realize. You guys remember Gary Webb from the 80s, the dude who busted the crack cocaine story about the CIA funding
Yes.
Nicaragua importing the crack into Los Angeles to fund their revolutions down there.
Yeah.
And then he was ruled a suicide. He shot himself in the head twice.
Oh,
Ruled a suicide.
didn't get it the first time.
So he was a investigative journalist. He wrote the Dark Alliance series, big, awesome books. And he had the receipts that the CIA was facilitating Nicaraguan import of crack cocaine into Los Angeles to fund their revolutionaries down there. And the CIA knew about it.
Yeah, and the CIA was putting it in the ghettos.
That's
one. Yeah, that's
It's
one
a,
of the
it's a safe place. Don't put it in the suburbs. We don't want to.
That's one of the
people.
best
Crazies.
conspiracy theories that like you've heard in rap songs. Like, there's no cocoa leaves in Harlem.
Yeah.
Like we're just like,
Yeah,
we're
nobody
just-
nobody in
seriously.
Harlem's making cocaine.
Yeah, so that's one of the best big. I think that it's not a conspiracy. I think it's true. They took drugs and they made
Absolutely.
it, and then they disenfranchised, and then
100%.
A lot of that's come out as true when
Yeah.
we look at where the cartels came from.
For sure.
the cartels came from our government,
Yeah.
and they created monsters to go fight bigger monsters,
Right.
and then we're left with these other monsters. And it's this whole situation is like we created a problem to fix a problem. How are we going to fix this problem?
What was that,
we ignore it.
what was the
That's how we fix
conspiracy
it.
theory about the? It was about the guns we gave to the cartels on the border. It was called Project something.
Oh, Fast and Furious,
Yeah.
wasn't it? Yeah. Yeah, I remember that. We're like, we were
It was
shipping
code word.
guns.
Well,
Family.
they were,
I live my life a quarter mile at a time.
but I mean that has all come out. That was fact. That
Yeah,
to beat
it's
the
legit.
big cartel guys, because there were so many small little cartels popping up.
Right, so
that
they
went and
consolidated them.
funded Big Dog to get rid of the
Yeah,
smaller
to
ones,
consolidate 'em all.
just to keep certain ones so they could keep an eye on them. Because if you have too many, you can't keep an eye on
Right,
everything.
right.
And it caused this.
You ever
bad
seen that
issue.
movie Sicario? Super
Oh,
bad.
yeah.
Oh yeah, real good.
Great movie.
Great
Love that
movie.
Love that movie.
The border scene, right when they're trying to cross over the border.
Oh yeah,
Oof.
it's pretty rough.
Yeah, so awesome.
I got one that I just recently learned about. It's not anything super wild, but have you heard of the Minnesota sky sounds?
No.
So there's video and stuff. People in Minnesota taking video of the sky. Whatever. There's these like high pitched screeching sounds echoing through their skies in Minnesota. It's been being played off by like airplanes and shit, but in all these videos there's no airplanes, and there's just these
Right.
consistent sounds going off in the sky, and it's pretty wild. But yeah,
What do they
that's a
think it
new one.
is? That's weird.
They don't know, and like there's all kind, because the sky stuff, with the chemtrails.
Chemtrails.
I was calling them
is it-
trimtrails.
Chinchilla?
them chemtrails, them things.
Chimmery? Chimney?
But yeah, that's
Chimchim
the Minnesota sky one is pretty new.
Yeah, chemtrails is a wild one. I
My
don't understand.
personal favorite, and I get into this. And this is one I do believe, because of the books I've read on this. I love aliens. I love cryptids, all that stuff, And I don't believe it enough where I'm gonna go look for them or anything like that. But I do believe that, I believe in the parallel universes and things like that. That's kind of the crazy fantasy stuff that I believe in, that I like believing. My favorite, Skinwalker Ranch, by far my favorite. It's the ranch where all the weird stuff, where they think the portals and stuff are from. Where that family, multiple families have bought it. Scientists have went out, ran tests, and have found odd things. And it's where the Skinwalkers, there were werewolf sightings
Right,
of the
yeah, they're
big,
like
not
shape
like
changers
not
or
like
something.
not like a werewolf of London kind of thing, but massive wolf,
like hybrid,
that this
2 feet bipedal wolf,
and
like
these
hybrid
these
creatures.
homeowners put bullets in them and it didn't affect them,
Nothing,
and
yeah.
things like that.
I've heard about the Skinwalker.
Skinwalker Ranch is why it's they've it's privately
more like
owned
a
now. They got it
myth
closed
than a-
off.
One of my favorite conspiracies that I don't know if I believe it, but it's very plausible to me, and this is one of the more larger ones, are kind of like the New World Order, Illuminati, Bilderberg,
Illuminati, yeah.
like people, Skull and Bones. You've got all these elite
Cultists.
super ritual, or kind of, they're in this like eyes wide shut, super rich, affluent cult, and they like run the world. They're all like the CEOs and
Yeah.
prime ministers and presidents
Lizard
of the
people.
world. And I don't know if they're lizard people, but I certainly believe, like, they have that Bilderberg conference every year where all these like affluent people fly in, and like they have these very secretive meetings where like no one can get in. There's no press allowed. There's no like recordings or whatever. And I know another one that Rowan always talks about is the Rothschilds.
Oh yeah.
They are like,
this is the thing with the
richest
Rothschilds.
family in the world, and no one sees them or
No.
hears about them.
Yeah, here's
or-
my question on the Rothschilds. They own banks.
Yeah,
but they're not in Forbes.
right.
They're never in the
That's
richest.
what I'm saying.
You'll never see
They own
them in
central
the rich
banks.
They own 80% of, supposedly 80% of the money in the world. They have control over.
Right,
and
Is
they're
it like
not.
a
They're
bank
not. They're
on
not
the
in your
Forbes
top
list? That's
10
what I'm saying.
list.
And they're not like presidents or senators or
They
something.
were-
Like,
I mean-
you don't hear about these people.
No, and then when we do hear about them, we heard about them from Hitler. Hitler spoke about them.
Right.
So Ro and I have had this conversation since
I
I
know
moved
he's
to
into
Chicago,
it, dude. He's
and
into
it's one of those things. It's like when you ask the questions. Okay, these are bankers, and we know they're super rich. That's not being denied. Anytime they're talked about, they've had money since the 20s.
They funded central banks, governmental banks
Yeah.
in like the
And
18th century and
Mike-
19th century.
Yeah, and that was our always questions, and they're never on a top 10 wealthy list. And so it's the people like Jamie Dimon. A lot of people don't know who Jamie Dimon. Jamie Dimon is my arch nemesis. He doesn't know that. Yeah. But my friends know that. But I respect Jamie Dimon because he did come from absolutely nothing to
crook.
become what he is. But he is a S-class criminal.
Yeah,
And he's great at it.
Him and Ken Griffin.
And he's so good at it that Trump asked him to be the treasury, and he laughed at him.
He's like, take
He's
a
like,
pay
what are
cut.
you doing?
Yeah, he's
like,
take
no,
a pay cut.
and put myself out there so
Yeah.
people know who I am. I'm over here
No.
making $300 million a year
Yeah, dude,
in control of
shelling.
all the banks.
Shelling.
Nobody knows I exist. I survived throat cancer. I had throat cancer that was supposed to kill me, and I survived. I don't have a hole in my throat, and I survived it.
Anybody with a whole bunch of means, and like I just
The most powerful people you don't know.
that's
and
it,
so
man. And I
thinking
feel like
about
those
their-
people
I-
get together. Those
Yeah.
guys get together in these like the Davos conference,
They're
the
friends.
Bilderberg, these
Yeah.
Skull and Bones, all these secret
They're
societies.
business acquaintances.
Yeah.
And it's the thing is like I don't think that they're mind controlling. I don't
No.
think they're
But
I
they're
think they
setting
sit around
policy of the world
yeah,
for sure.
I think they sit and they talk data and they
Yeah.
talk about, okay, how do we
How do we keep
being
the monies
who we are?
Yeah, how do
How do
we
we
keep
use all
our
these
vested
people?
interests, and how do we keep our interests?
Because we've
working?
created this game,
For
so how do we
sure.
keep the game working to where
For
we're
sure.
benefiting from it?
I totally
and
believe in
nobody
that new
realizes
world
it.
order shit. for sure.
Here's a conspiracy theory people talk about. Shout out to Kyle Buck, Uncle Buckhouse. They did all their shows on conspiracies, right? Every country that we've invaded or had a skirmish with was before we had the skirmish. They had no central bank. Once we came in, they had a central bank.
Yeah.
The other thing, the Rothschilds have diluted amongst their different businesses. That's why they're not ranked amongst the top.
Right.
So
they
which is
diversified
they're-
themselves.
Yeah, it's what's kind of smart is so you stay out of
Stay in the
the
shadows.
public eye.
Right. Yeah.
You know?
And so, but yeah, the central bank, which because they think that like even the Rothschild had something to do with Kennedy because he
Yeah.
wanted to get rid of the Federal
Right.
Reserve.
Yeah. Yes.
Want to go
That's
to
what I'm
this
saying.
standard, and
Yeah.
then the central banks. Yeah,
He didn't want banks to make profit off of you,
Right.
which is fair, and that's all he did. He's like, hey, the banks will fund you, but
Yeah.
you're not going to make money. You're not going to loan a citizen money to buy a house and then make 10 times the money off of them for that home.
Yeah.
Like you're not going to do that. And that's all JFK was trying to say was like, but the government's going to back you. Like you're
Yeah.
fine. We're going to take care of you, this and that. You're there to loan money to someone. Then they can come back. I need $2,000. I'll get you $2,000 in a year or whatever. Okay. And that's what your design was for. And
Right.
the banks were like, no, we can make a bunch of money. Why would
Right.
we,
It's
why would we
usury
take,
now. Yeah.
why would
Well,
we take your funding when we can be billionaires? you
The
know?
other biggest scam, a conspiracy, is like, why do we have a credit score?
Yeah.
Like,
well, I mean, yeah, that was instituted in the 80s as well.
yeah, like
you know,
what
like-
make? Why did I have to have that attached to me?
Right. Yeah, that's a complete
To help their
scam.
investments.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they
And that
can
was the
use
whole thing.
our money to fund their gambling habits, and then they just keep their money to keep
And
and
then
spend and
they-
buy
yep.
nesting doll yacht boats with helipads on it.
And then they take our money and then like, well, we're not going to lend you money, even though you've been circulating
Right.
my money to use other. And it's just like, what are we doing?
Yeah. It's like if you go
The
to
bank
a bank
says I can't afford a $900 mortgage, so I pay $1,700 a month in rent instead.
like when when
The house
Megan
you're sitting
and
in
I-
right now is $1,900 lease.
Megan and I went to close out our bank account, and they were like, "Yeah, we can't give you all of it right now," you know, kind of thing. And this was years and years ago, but it's like, why?
Give me my money.
Yeah, we put the money in there. You have a receipt that says this is how much money we have
Right.
in here. So can I just have my money?
It took me forever. When I had to close
Such
my
a
Bank
bitch.
of America account when I was living in all the big cities, and then I finally moved back here to Seymour. There's no Bank of America branch in Seymour,
Yeah.
obviously. Closest one is in Columbus. So I was like, fuck, I got to change this account. I opened up a Jackson County one. And then so I had to go up to Columbus. Actually, no, I had to come up here to Greenwood to go to a lobby branch to close my account. And I sat in the fucking lobby of this Bank of America for 4 hours.
They wanted you to leave so you would stay, you know. Kind
Oh,
of thing.
I was
Dude.
furious at the end, dude.
Yeah.
I was like, you better give me my money today. And they were like, all right, we're going to cut you this check. And there was like some big hassle. And then come to find out they left 2 cents in my account to keep it open. And I got a bank statement like the next week with a 2-cent balance in it. And I called them and I was like, I'm not dealing with this anymore. Like, close this account, or
Assholes,
I'm going to
man.
just like freak out on you.
We went to close an account. It used to be Charter One. They were open on Sundays, so
Yeah.
I'd use that for myself, right?
Yeah.
And then it switched to Old National or whatever, and then somebody, whatever, got in my account, whatever.
Terrible.
So I said, hey, I need to close this account and go to another account. And they're like, well, you need to go to the original place you set it up at.
What?
I go, that place closed.
that place is in the ground.
Get the hell out
They're
of
like, we have to
here.
go in 56 in Georgetown.
Banks,
and I
man,
go,
I fucking
no,
hate
I'll be in Greenwood
Yeah.
in the lobby. That's where I'm going. And that's where I went. And they're like, well, nope.
No,
Crazy.
give me my fucking money.
Lots of conspiracies out there, though,
Yeah,
man.
and they are fun. I like reading them. I wouldn't say I'm a conspiracy theorist.
I
This
know we
isn't-
mist a few. I'm interested
Yeah,
to see what the
there's a
listeners
lot.
are going to
I mean, we didn't even get into lizard people. Lizard people's a great one.
So yeah, post on our page. Definitely give us a call or an email about your favorite conspiracies, or if you have
Gay
any
frogs. We talked
big,
about it.
big feelings about gay frogs, then let us know. That'd be
Yeah.
awesome.
Because I mean, the conspiracy theory, I think it is a good thing. But like what BJ said, it's a yin and yang. Like in always, you'll hear me say that tons of times. It's a yin and yang, and there's going to be something bad with everything that's fun or interesting or real or good.
In closing, I'll say I'm a huge conspiracy fan. I think they're fun.
Yeah, they're fun.
But if you invite me over and you have a Legos build up with September 11th, I'm out.
Yeah,
it'd be cool. But
let me show you how the jet fuel melted these steel beams right here.
I don't think we're supposed to be smelling melted plastic. I'm gonna go.
Why do you have asbestos flakes in your living room above this diorama of 9/11?
Yeah, I'm not somebody who necessarily is going to get in arguments and stuff about it. Like, I don't care that much, but I do find them interesting. I like reading about them.
They are prevalent, like you said.
Always Sunny in Philadelphia when they did that conspiracy theory. That's how I feel like
Charlie,
that's when I'm out.
Yeah, when he's in front of his board going crazy. The best.
He's got all the
Love it.
trying to find the mail.
I love it. Love it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So definitely reach out to us, guys. Hit us up on the Facebook page or the Instagram. Or what's the number again?
Give him the number.
What is the number?
Let us know.
It's 317-520-3168. Tell us know what you thought about the conspiracies or if you have any that we missed, or shoot us an email at themelonpartypod@gmail.com.
Yeah, appreciate it, guys. And as always, we will see you on the next one.
Later, skaters.
Peace.